This video is going to be a look at the Ravens offense, not just their production in week 4, particularly during the first half, but the progression of how things have been revealed over the course of the season. I've seen a couple of comments on Twitter about plays being, I don't want to say held back, but plays being revealed at a certain time, week by week, kind of like an onion where you peel layers away. Right now, we're averaging 25 points per game through 4 games. Of course, in week 4 against the Browns, we faced a very good defense. Overall, for the game, I think we only generated 296 yards of offense, or maybe 298. We know though that we went very conservative in the third quarter. If you look at the production of the offense, points wise, we're doing a pretty good job. 12 touchdowns overall, which I think is 8th in the league, tied with the Seahawks and the Packers. I think the Ravens made a tactical decision in the second half to limit Lamar's exposure with 2 backup tackles out there in Makari and Daniel Falele, and let the defense do work. The defense was spectacular in coverage, and at that point, when we're up 21-3 and then 28-3 after Lamar's second touchdown to Mark Andrews on a beautiful concept, which I'll show in this video, we decided to let the defense work. So for me, even to quote the 12 touchdowns and the yards is somewhat skewed information or skewed presentation because game situation, in my opinion, trumps all. And what it looked like in week 4 was that Todd Monken is a guy who's constantly thinking about how can we succeed in game situation with the things we have installed without revealing every element of every concept or formation or personnel group at one time. I believe, and not sure if I can explain this or prove it, that his play call sheet on a given week reveals a new play for each formation or maybe for multiple formations, and maybe removes a play, that we've utilized often. I'm going to focus this. It's cool though if you want to complain about that, about me claiming that, because I can't prove it. So it might be useless for you to hear it. And it's also cool for someone to complain about us kind of shutting down the offensive attack in the third quarter, fourth quarter against the Browns. I'm fine with that. I think I get it. People are concerned about Lamar's yards per game so that we as fans don't have to hear the constant complaints from other fan bases about Lamar only throwing for 200 yards per game. Frankly, I don't think Lamar cares. And I think that's one of the things that's really beautiful about the way he plays. It doesn't seem to me that he cares about his stats. It only cares about winning. John Harbaugh said that, in fact, I think in 2018. I think it still applies now. It's all about winning games, and I think the way that Todd Monken is doing things is not squeezing all of the juice out of every formation and every personnel group early in the season to the detriment 2, 3, 4 weeks from now. Now, this video hopefully will be watched by people a month from now, and maybe that statement will reflect poorly, or maybe it'll stand true and hold strong. If you look at what we've done in previous years, we've been better early and then fallen off a cliff when people became aware of our tendencies offensively. It seems to me as if Todd Monken is only revealing what is necessary for each week. And I'm going to use the bunch formation to try to prove that to you. I'm going to look at something I think he's doing, a long-term mindset in terms of play usage and revealing plays. Bunch formation to me is clearly something that Todd Monken feels comfortable using in key moments. And I'm going to show you, I think, 5 plays prior to week 4 here in a moment. It's been a long lead in, so my apologies. I want to show the progression of the concepts because I think it's more about just run pass balance, which some of us have talked about before. I don't know what it is yet at a bunch, by the way. I haven't put all the data in for week 4. Directional balance, we clearly have that in pretty much every formation. There is clearly an attempt that's very intentional to show plays to both sides of the formation that are run plays and pass plays. And I know I'll be able to prove that to you in this video. I think that this offense has been reverse engineered. And I hate to go math on you, but because nobody wants to talk about, however old you are, you don't want to talk about or hear someone talk about like X and Y tables, input, output. But it seems to me as if this offense has been designed with, what do I want the output to be? What do I need the input to be in order to gain that output? And then when do I want to reveal each piece of that? Because it doesn't seem to me as if Monken is running the same plays every week from each formation. It seems to me as if he's adding a play every week and then choosing when to reveal it. I think he's spent time, a lot of time, on this bunch formation, and that's why I'm picking that one. Even though I did do a video on the bunch in the preseason. Anyway, we've got run pass balance, which we don't know necessarily. Directional balance. I'm going to check that box. Conceptual balance. The run game is using zone and gap power counter schemes. There's some option schemes, but not as much. But perhaps most importantly, this will be my final point till we get to the film. So forgive me for not, getting to it sooner. Everyone has to be a threat in each formation. You cannot have formations where one or two guys just don't get the ball at all out of that formation for whatever reason. It's related to the run pass balance, or related to the directional balance. But I'm honing in on that element of it. That each player in the formation that's on the field is a threat to get the ball. Now maybe two of the players, Zay Flowers, Lamar Jackson, are a threat to gain 20, 30 plus yards. And maybe a couple of other guys that are out there are only guys that are a threat to gain 6, 8, 10 yards maximum. But the point is, everyone is a threat because of the opportunities, because that's how the offense has been designed. That's what it looks like to me, is that it's been designed for multiple guys to get the ball. Let's get to the film. Forgive me for a 6-minute lead in. This is Justice Hill's touchdown against the Texans on a weak side run concept, meaning it's run to the backside of the bunch. You've got 3 players to one side, the running back over there. We talked about this at that time. Additionally, you've got OBJ doing a pretty nice job, getting up to the safety level. Justice Hill running away from the strength of the formation to the weak side, to the one receiver side, with no one leading. It's just an inside zone concept over there. We're doing a pretty good job across the board getting a touchdown. The main play that's been a bunch play so far in 2023 has been the pin pull pitch. This is against the Bengals in week 2 on the road. Of course, you do have motion from the bunch platform. Morgan Moses has been the guy who's put on a show on these plays, and you see an example of it here. He just decks, I think it's Mike Hilton. The pin pull pitch is attacking to the side where the bunch was originally lined up. The previous play that I showed you goes to the side of the X receiver. I intentionally picked those 2 plays to start this video because one of them goes to the strong side. Well, one of them goes to the weak side, the first touchdown I showed you against the Texans. And then this one, which I think is the bread and butter of this formation, goes to the strong side. Monken is trying to force you to set the nickel defender to the bunch, which everybody's going to do anyway. But he's also trying to get you to overlay the safeties to that side as well. You can see that you've got 2 safeties to this side, 5-1 look by the Bengals, so only one inside linebacker, solo look, if you will. He's trying to get you to focus on that side of the formation and neglect over here, or basically create a one-on-one for the X receiver. In previous years, we only attacked with the pass at a bunch A. This isn't bunch A, it's under center. And we never threw to the backside X. Another example on a 3rd and 1 against the Bengals. This is bunch right A, same concept. Pin pull pitch. Justice Hill gets it, tough run. The Bengals are there to meet him and contest every single play, but you get the idea. You've got strong side play to the bunch, weak side play away from the bunch that are both run concepts, okay? We'll get to pass concepts in week 4. We don't have to cover that in the historical look at this already. But week 3 against the Colts, you've got the pin pull pitch to this side with the running back. You got the inside zone to the weak side. I love this play, even though it only generates 4 yards here. But it does reveal another layer of this formation. It does reveal another threat in terms of a play that we use. When you get to the ultimate exclamation point of each formation, whether that's week 7, whether it's week 12, hopefully we see, if we did I don't know if someone smarter than me can think of or describe a graphic that could be used from a formation platform. You see players with their throwing logs, and you got the graphics, where the dots are, and you also have sometimes you'll see the lines, the trajectory of the throws. Those are pretty cool. I'd like to create one for formations. I don't know that it would be as interesting because, as fans, we generally focus on players. As a coach, I focus on formations along with the players as well. But what are you getting out of these things? Once you've established a number of plays, you're getting flow to the pitch side, and then you're creating as much isolation as you can to the backside. There happens to be a safety here on this side. If you did it the way that we showed it against the Bengals in the previous play, you would not have that guy there, and it wouldn't be 3-on-3. It'd be like 3-on-2.5. Zay Flowers, luckily we got him. He creates a 4 or 5 yard gain out of pretty much nothing. Same play, end zone angle. And you can see the flow from the linebacker level. Why? Because they know this play. You get showing hands by Kenyon Drake. I talked about that last week. Just a little bit of a fake. But once you show NFL defenses and NFL players concepts to one side, they're going to, I don't want to say sell out, but they're going to adjust to try to stop that until you prove you'll attack to both sides of the formation. We do. This is a half mesh, week 4, late motion or shift with Justice Hill in the backfield. This is bunch B, and this is going to be half mesh. I think you get Hill out of the backfield. He gives a little shimmy, so he could take this up the sideline. He could just bring this back in, and then you've got Zay underneath. That's what we call it, half mesh, but there's multiple names for the concept because you could have different routes run by the other receivers. Lamar's doing a nice job of holding on to the football for a moment because the D tackle's in his window. Completes it to Zay, who's bringing his route back to the line of scrimmage. You'd like to see him continue it towards the sideline. But what's the point? We've cleared people out here. We've cleared people out of there to try to create space for Zay to run onto. And I think the next time we see him run this, he won't veer back towards the line of scrimmage, but it still ends up being a 7-yard gain because he's got unbelievable agility and vision once he gets the football in his hands. So you've got a pass play that goes from the bunch side to the single receiver side using a clear out concept, which I'll refer to a couple of times in this video, trying to clear people out of there and create space for Zay Flowers to run onto. Keep that in mind when you see Mark Andrews' second touchdown later on in the game. Conceptually, it's the same thing. All right, now you've got bunch A again and a 7-yard run by Hill. Same side run. First of all, we've talked about that a bunch of times on the channel. Second of all, it's just a bounce by Hill, which he can do because he's got ridiculous speed. We're reducing the number of players over here to run this, which can be beneficial, and it is here, because sometimes you'll get one safety flowing down, another safety flowing back. In this case, the Browns actually don't roll anybody, so they're still in good position. They've got an immediate force player to deal with this. He's just not out there. He's just not able to get out there and force things inside. Duve gets up to him, gives him somebody to deal with. We're forcing the corner to make the tackle, which is kind of like, the popular thing to do nowadays is make sure you get up to the safety, leave the corner unblocked. But I got news for you. People have been doing that for, decades now, but you got a same side run that's not pin, pull, pitch. That's the point here. Multiple concepts and different ways to do it. Later on, same possession. I think this is 7th possession. Excuse me, I'm sorry. This is 6th possession. You've got Lamar on the same side follow to the bunch side. Kind of unfair to give him a lead blocker. Gus is doing a great job in blocking out in front, in my opinion, on at least 3 different concepts. This is one we had not seen yet. What had we seen? We'll do backfield. We'll do back action. Pin, pull, pitch to the bunch side. All right. You had the inside zone, the touchdown against the Texans. Cool. You had the motion by Zay across, and then the same side run that Justice Hill bounced. I'm drawing the mirrored version of it, because the plays aren't going in the same direction. Well, they are going in the same direction, right and left, but the bunch is on the opposite side. And now we give you, if you look at the progression of when this was called in week 4, it's not a same side give to Gus. He's actually veering back outside to be a lead blocker for the best athlete on the field. This is, it's efficient because it minimizes risk of an interception or a handoff. This is not potentially going to be a handoff on this play. This is a called QB follow with a fake mesh, and it puts our best athlete out in space forces you to tackle him, which can then open up other run plays later, because by giving the same look, whether it's bunch A or bunch B, that you've given the defense one possession earlier or two possessions earlier, now you're giving them a different look by giving the football. I'll show you that play in a moment. It'll be the first play of the second play of the seventh possession. End zone angle. Again, it's a little fake mesh by Lamar and Gus. Get them out there. The beautiful thing about what I suspect about Monken's offense is we may not see that again for 2 or 3 weeks. Now, we will probably see Lamar run inside the 5, because at this point, that's what we've done, I think, 5 times. Maybe I have my count wrong there. But when you look at the touchdowns that he has passing, that can be somewhat minimized by the fact that he runs the ball so well. First play of the seventh possession, 55-yard screen to Justice Hill. Of course, this doesn't count. It's a pass concept, technically, statistically, but really it's just a delayed run. Let's do this one more time. Pin, pull, pitch. Same side run. Inside zone away. You got the backside X screen that we saw to Zay Flowers against the Colts. The same side QB follow with Lamar following Gus for the touchdown that we just showed you. You got the half mesh. That was bunch B. Again, I'm drawing this from a mirrored version for you. Flipped right and left, because we're now going in a different direction and the bunch is on the other side. And then now we give you a screen. I'm not sure if I'm doing a great job of explaining the reveal of this, but the Todd Monken offense that we've seen so far is partially incomplete because he's not showing everything every week. We haven't seen a screen like this out of bunch A to the weak side. Gets called back for the hold on Macari. I'm not a huge fan of the call, but it is a hold, but it's not always called. But it definitely is a hold. Beautiful timing, getting these guys out in front. The guy in motion is able to be used as a blocker. The receiver who was over there. We only need 2 linemen. I mean, this is excellent usage of your personnel and the space on the field. It's to the wide side of the field. I am glad that I never coached against that many people like this that don't show you everything from a particular platform. You had that penalty and then another one, I think. Same side run to Gus. Now we do just make a linebacker miss completely. I think I give you the end zone angle, but this is the same look as the same side run QB follow or QB keep to Lamar. You got the motion by Zay, except now we're giving it to Gus, and he makes a guy miss. 16-yard gain on a 1st and 20. I think it's a 16-yard gain. Maybe it's 15. Looking forward in that possession, you're going to have possibly the most important play of the game, or one of them. Obviously besides the early interception by Stevens to get us a touchdown. And it's this 3rd and 6. We've confirmed that it's man. We've got bunch B. I won't one more time show you all the backfield flows, because I think at this point you get it, that we've got a multitude of concepts from one platform. I'm not showing you other formations in this video. I'm only showing you all the different concepts that he's running out of bunch. Each formation is the same way, just so you know. There's at least 6 different concepts being run from each formation. I don't know if people really enjoy the offensive podcast, but I'm going to make sure I get done that this week. Unfortunately, it'll be without video, because if I was to include video, I guess I could include graphics. But if I include video, the production time on that would probably be upwards of 2 or 3 hours. But this is the wheel to Gordon. Potentially a pick there by Aguilar, but he's not going out of his way to create any contact because he doesn't want to draw a penalty. But it is quite obvious that he's creating a pick, forcing the defender to go underneath to chase Melvin Gordon. And let's be honest with you. I mean, it's a great play by Gordon, a great throw by Lamar. Melvin Gordon is not a speed back in the sense of a Justice Hill or a Keaton Mitchell. But if you can imagine with a little bit more speed, there's going to be even more separation. Lamar, I think, sees where it's developing. It's man on the backside. And I also want to point out this to you one more time before we move on to the final touchdown. Check the coverage out. To the bunch. And then you've got man on the backside. So this is something that will show up on that final touchdown to Andrews. Now, in this case, they appear to be playing man, but I think it's just man on this guy here. He's getting off. This certainly looks like zone relationship right here. You got Andrews running out in the flats. Keep that in mind because I think that's what Todd Monken and the good coaches do. Great coaches already kind of know what you're going to do coverage wise, but what he's done is have so many concepts from one platform, one formation, that he's got a way to abuse or take advantage of what you're doing no matter what you play. This is Andrew's final touchdown. This will be the final play that I show you here. What do you got? Bunch B, man, man, and then Andrews is going to run onto the space. It's mesh basically is the concept. And you've got zone down here to the bunch side. Andrews is running onto the space created or vacated by the corner covering the X, and it's wide open. It's also a brilliant job by Lamar. We're glossing over some of the things he did in this video because we spent so much time focusing on it in the video I talked about earlier, Lamar Jackson 2023 AFC North Tour. You can see the man relationship here. Andrews is running onto that open space that's vacated. The sit route in the middle of the field is Duvernay, just designed to hold defenders because they recognize the concept that it's mesh. Lamar steps up. Andrews wide open. Why? Because these guys on the backside, JOK on the running back, and the backside corner on the X, which I think was Aguilar, they're playing man. So they've just left all that space available. Why were we able to call that play and no? Look at the previous play I showed you, the 3rd and 6 completion on the wheel to Gordon. We knew we were going to get man to the backside. It's what we do defensively. We knew we were going to get man to the backside and some type of zone combo to the front side. Great play call by Monken. I think designing your offense like this, having so many plays, concepts to be able to be run from the same formation, makes you a better coach in a cumulative sense because you can have one or two ways to attack a defense based on how they're covering you. And I'm really referencing the last two plays. On the previous play, how did we attack it? We had the little pick by the X, which I think was Aguilar, and the wheel by Gordon to isolate him on the inside linebacker, who still doesn't know that the ball was thrown there unless he's seen the play. This is conceptually the same way to attack it. Utilize the man coverage against them. You still almost have an attempt to get the pick here, but we aren't looking at this route to develop. To me, this seems like we pretty much knew where this football was going to go. Why? Because we knew the coverage. Why did we know the coverage? Because our coach, our offensive coordinator, had run enough plays and abused them enough out of the bunch formation to be able to predetermine the coverage that we were going to get and probably tell Lamar in his headset. I think that was a 2nd and 8, but I might be wrong there. Hey, this is the coverage you're going to get. This is the route that's probably going to pop open. Just dodge the rush and get the ball out there to him. I could be wrong. I could be trying to make more out of it than it is, but that's what my job is here, to try to create these film studies. That's what all of our job is as Ravens film study, content creators, is to try to show you the things that we notice. Hopefully you watch all of us, and then you get a really complete picture of what's being done on the field and maybe why it's being done. Or maybe you have a theory. I'll offer that my theory is Todd Monken has reverse engineered the offense and chosen to reveal new concepts, each one or maybe two new concepts each week from particular platforms, particular formations, to basically create a mental block, a mental freeze in the defense, which is the exact opposite side of the coin that we used to see under Greg Roman. Not to be denigrating towards him, but there was clearly each season a fall off after week 4, 5, 6, somewhere around there. And oftentimes that will be attributed to Lamar. I think that in a grander sense, it was due to us being predictable out of at least 2 or 3 formations. And then once the defenses, week 5, week 6, week 7, adjusted to us, removed those things from Greg Roman's call sheet, Maybe they were still on his call sheet, but they had basically or essentially been removed early in games or the week before by defenses showing, hey, we can stop this and here's how. I think Todd Monken is doing the exact opposite to NFL defenses so far. I think he's presenting them so many questions that it's not possible for them to have more than one answer. And that further has an impact. Again, this is a theory. So if you're going down this rabbit hole with me, thank you. But I think that further has an impact because it simplifies the looks that teams can give because they're frozen by the multitude of concepts that are being thrown at them, be it run, be it pass, which I do think there's run pass balance, but I can't say that there is because I don't have the data yet to prove it. The directional balance, the conceptual balance, and then making sure that every player in each formation is available as an option for the quarterback to give them the football. Appreciate you guys' time. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know. Hopefully you enjoyed the graphic if you didn't enjoy the video. I guess if you didn't enjoy the video, you're not still listening. But a good friend of mine made the graphic once again, and I just thought it was unbelievable. I couldn't wait for the opportunity to use this. He actually made this in the off season. So if you get the reference, you're old like me. If you don't, you're not old. So congratulations. Appreciate you guys' time. Let me know what you think of the video in the comment section. Please consider sharing the video out on social media to help my content get more reach.